Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. Russia says it regrets the expiry of its last remaining nuclear arms control treaty with the United States, but insisted it would act responsibly despite the removal of deployment limits. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Moscow would continue to prioritize strategic stability after the New START treaty expired, ending the final Cold War-era agreement limiting nuclear warheads and delivery systems. Meanwhile, the US military says Washington and Moscow have agreed to re-establish high-level military-to-military dialogue more than 4 years after the channel was suspended ahead of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The US European Command said the decision followed meetings in Abu Dhabi between its commander, General Alexis Grinkovich, and senior Russian and Ukrainian military officials. Also, US-based news website Axios reported that the United States and Russia are close to an agreement to continue observing the New START nuclear arms control treaty beyond its expiration.
Ukraine and Russia began the second day of US-brokered talks in Abu Dhabi on Thursday, following a first day both sides called productive. Kyiv's negotiator Rustem Umerov said discussions focused on concrete steps and practical solutions, while Russia's envoy Kirill Dmitriev reported progress and positive movement. Key issues, including Russia's demand for Ukraine to cede territory in Donetsk, remain unresolved. Trilateral consultations, group discussions, and joint coordination sessions continue as part of the negotiations.
As talks continue, Russia and Ukraine have exchanged 157 prisoners of war each, a swap mediated by the United Arab Emirates and the United States, as announced by President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff. Russia's defense ministry said the released Russian personnel were taken to Belarus, and that 3 civilians from Russia's Kursk region were also returned as part of the exchange. Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan says his country is doing everything possible to prevent rising US-Iran tensions from pushing the Middle East into a new conflict. Speaking after a visit to Egypt, Erdogan said leadership-level talks between Washington and Tehran could help defuse the crisis, as the two sides remain deadlocked over Iran's missile program ahead of planned nuclear talks in Oman. Without mentioning ICE, President Donald Trump has defended his immigration crackdown and credited his administration with restoring law and order at the US border. Speaking to lawmakers and religious leaders at Thursday's National Prayer Breakfast, Trump rejected calls to fire Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and praised Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Pakistan's security forces concluded Operation Radul Fitna 1 in Balochistan, targeting Indian-sponsored terrorist groups. The campaign killed 216 militants, including 41 in Panjgur and Hanai, and recovered weapons, ammunition, and evidence of foreign support. The operation came at a heavy human cost. 22 security personnel were martyred, and 36 civilians, including women and children, lost their lives. The military said the operation significantly weakened terrorist networks' command structures. ISPR reaffirmed its commitment to continuing counterterrorism efforts across the province under the National Action Plan.
At least 18 people have been killed in an explosion at an illegal coal mine in India's northeastern state of Meghalaya. The blast occurred at a banned rat hole mine in the East Jantia Hills district. Rescue operations are underway, though efforts have been hampered by a lack of equipment, and more miners are feared trapped.
A team under U.S. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard investigated Puerto Rico's voting machines last spring, focusing on possible cybersecurity vulnerabilities, officials said. The operation, coordinated with the FBI, examined claims that Venezuela may have hacked the territory's electronic voting systems, but found no evidence of foreign interference. Gabbard's office said it took several machines and copies of data for forensic analysis, saying the review was aimed at identifying election system weaknesses rather than confirming external meddling. Bitcoin hovered just above the crucial $70,000 mark after extending losses in Asian and European trade, falling to its lowest level since November 2024. The decline comes as markets react to expectations that incoming Federal Reserve Chair nominee Kevin Warsh could shrink the Fed's balance sheet, weighing on risk assets. Ether also slipped, nearing the $2,000 level, while analysts point to heavy outflows from US spot Bitcoin ETFs as investor sentiment weakens.
That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.